So what digital marketing skills are most in demand? Daniel?
So good way, it's a tricky one, and a good way to base this is to look at, first of all, we've got our digital marketing skills benchmark, and it's to look at that and go, where are the skills gaps? So that will tell us where there's a bit of a problem. But then go off and look at the ads that are out there for all the jobs that are being advertised and try and kind of compile through and say, where are the most jobs being advertised in this particular area of digital marketing?
So what then comes out on top?
Pretty much universally at the moment is analytics and data. That is to do with the fact that, one, it's a huge skills gap. We've seen that in the skills benchmark. But also with the advent of GA4, the new version of Google Analytics, there's a really skills gap in that area. And as an industry, we're not great with data. So that's one. The other one that comes out, the two that are coming out top, is the social media and content. Now, that's interesting because there's huge demand, but there's also, our benchmark shows recently a huge skills gap. But there's also a confidence gap. People think they're good at content and social media. The reality is lower down. So it's quite easy to go, oh yeah, I'm good at content. Is that really true? We need some way of kind of putting a metric against that and measuring the success of that content and so on as well. So I think in reality, I would say if you can be good at content, something creative, you can be good at social media, but also you can measure it, iterate it, that's where there's a big opportunity. So I would really kind of lean into that analytics and data, but then use that to apply it to the area that you're kind of most interested in. And that becomes a bit more interesting at that point.
So is there any other skills-focused roles?
Yeah, I think that if you look at search engine optimization, that's a constantly moving feast, and really understanding that in detail is always massively in demand. The paid display and paid search, they're changing all the time as well, but there's more machine learning in those spaces now. So to some extent, those tools are becoming easier to use, but I would still argue expertise in those areas is really, really important as well. Bear in mind the creative aspects of this as well, the design, the video production, audio production, all those things, massively in-demand skills, but you need a lot of experience to get good at those kind of things as well. So we've got skills gaps. I mean, if you look at the digital marketing skills benchmark, we've got 14 different areas of expertise, and what we're actually seeing is there's skills gaps in all of them. So I think it's working out what you're passionate about and where there's demand, but all of them need to be tied together with data as well. And I mean, you've done this your career. You've kind of gone through and iterated and improved and learned, and that's what you've been passionate about.
Yeah, it's always been about telling the story, like see what the story is. And a lot of that is around manipulating and playing with the numbers. It's a cheesy kind of concept, isn't it? But if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And I think that's been a big part of the success that I've had, is being the guy that's able to do that. And actually, even now, organisations come to me and go, we're really struggling with this. And you sort of peel it back to the really obvious things like, well, what are you trying to achieve and what are you measuring and how do those two things marry up? Like, where are we at right now? Sometimes it's about being brutally honest and going, actually, this is really rubbish. Like, what we're doing is really bad. That's great. You can only improve. But yeah, that's I think that whole being confident with numbers and analytics, which is bizarre because for years it's been an open knowledge. I'm not very good at maths, but I am quite good at playing with numbers and seeing stories within them, I suppose. So, it's not necessarily even about mathematical ability. You just have to apply yourself and play with it a lot. And do you know what? You need to be really good at spot the difference. Like if you're really good at spot the difference, seriously, you're really good at that, or you're really good at playing the same computer game over and over again and getting a better score. That's for me. I think I did play too many computer games as a child, but they really helped. Oh, if only I could, argue that with my mother at the time. It's going to be brilliant for my career, Mum. She wouldn't believe me.
That iteration piece is important. It's look at something and saying, I think it's telling me this, I'm going to try this. Yeah. And the ability to kind of think in a way. So actually, what we're really talking about from this point of view is people that can go through and kind of structure a problem in their head and be an analytical thinker. Yeah. And if you can do that, you can apply it to anything.
And you do that with computer games, don't you? Like you win by doing the less obvious thing. And I suppose that's that, and if you gamify everything, if everything's a game, it's fun and you push hard to get on to the next level. So there's a lot to be said for that kind of approach to problem solving, and not just repeatedly doing the same thing again and again and expecting different results. That's a slightly crazy outcome to expect. You do need to adjust a few things. And for me, it's about not adjusting too much. so you can spot the one thing or the two things that made the difference.
So is there any other key trends that you would note?
Yeah, I mean, huge growth in AI tools within digital marketing. So having some sort of knowledge and understanding of that can be really, really useful, but also understand their limitations. It's not you can just apply to everything. If you read everything online, you're going to make $1 million tomorrow using AI tools and it's amazing. Yes, there is big opportunity, but it's saying, how do I apply that to this organization? So you've got these areas of discipline, SEO, paid search, email. Yes, you need some expertise in those, but you also need the skills of analytical thinking, problem solving. You combine those two things with data, and that's what's going to give you a great career within digital marketing.